Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing the new Mercedes-Benz SL55. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Mercedes-Benz of Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this SL55. I'm going to include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check out what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 4-liter V8 that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 469 horsepower and then 516 pound-feet of torque, with fuel economy being 13 around town and then 21 on the highway. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the paint color, for those of you wondering, this is Starling Blue Metallic, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. And then popping down below, the headlight design is so sharp, and I love this here. It looks super aggressive. And then you guys can see the signature grille that's on all of the Mercedes-Benz sedans and, you know, coupes like that. Well, actually, it's a Roadster. But anyways, you guys can see you've got the logo there front and center, and then you've got the camera above it, and then, of course, the other Mercedes-Benz logo as well. And putting it all together, I think the new SL is one of the most beautiful Mercedes-Benz ever designed. It looks fantastic. Coming around the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 275, 35, 21 in the front, and then in the rear it's 305, 30, 21. And then taking a look at the wheels themselves, you guys can see the silvering on the outside. Notice how it's blacked out and the center satin black, and then you've got the yellow AMG brake caliper. I mean, that all together just pops. I love how far the fender pops out here, and then you guys can see V8 bi-turbo, and then notice the mirror cap blacked out, and then you've got the pop-out door handles. And then here's the full side profile on the SL55. Now taking a look at the key fob, you guys can see we've got the lock function with the AMG logo, we've got our unlock, and then the opening here for the trunk. Now, being a Roadster means that the trunk is going to be on the smaller side of things, but you could still fit some golf clubs back here, it looks like, so it's got that going for it. And this is probably the smallest trunk that automatically closes that I have ever seen. That's pretty cool. And you guys can see here with the badges on the back, and then look at the taillight design, how it wraps around. And then I love the covers over the exhaust tips, got the AMG logo on them. Putting it all together, let me know your thoughts on the SL55, but I really like the looks. This is one of the few soft tops that I think looks good. Now taking a look at the door panel, we got this cool two-tone design with the leather, and by the way, like the whole door panel is covered with leather trim. You guys can see the speaker for the Burmester sound system, and then down below we do have our seat adjustments. We have heated and ventilated seats, which is really cool, and it even comes with a wind scarf, which is another nice feature to blow heat on the back of your neck. All of your window controls here, you've got your mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in, and they have blind spot monitoring. Now the SL55 does have back seats. You can see beautiful quilted design there with the perforated leather, so just very nice from a material standpoint, but obviously you can see not a lot of space there in the back. I mean, headroom's infinite if you take the top off, but yeah, with the top down it's definitely more cramped. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you've got this golf ball texture here on either side, smooth at the bottom and at the top. AMG logo. You got the drive mode select here with a little dial, and then you can adjust a bunch of different items here with that little dial right there, which is also really cool. Paddle shifters here on the back, and then you guys can see all the controls here on the steering wheel for like the cruise control and the center screen, and the controls here for the infotainment screen right there. So yeah, kind of like the normal AMG steering wheel, right? And then you got your stock there on the back for the turn signal / windshield wipers, and then column shifter. Now this does have Mercedes-Benz full digital gauge cluster, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. It's also super customizable. So that's the classic font. We can do understated, sport. We got super sport. You even have the track pace view, which is really cool. But yeah, I like how customizable this is. It definitely adds a layer of fun. Now I've got this full 360 camera system. You guys can see the bird's eye view, and then we do have trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel. You can see out of other viewpoints with the car. Again, it's a smaller car, so it doesn't really need it, but you know, as expensive as this car is, it's nice to be able to see out of every single angle. Now in terms of the infotainment system, this is the one that's out of the new S-Class, is the best way to describe it. So you've got some like buttons here at the bottom, but you basically just have this one screen here, and then it's separated from the gauge cluster rather than being all connected like on some other Mercedes-Benz models. Notice it does have massaging seats here with this Roadster, but yeah, it responds really well. It's easy to use. If you press the AMG button, this will pull up all of the different drive modes that you have. Tons of performance modes, which is really cool, and it's easy to change drive modes. I do like that quite a bit. And then even with the top, you've got that right there with that little button. So we have this storage area right here. Wireless phone charging pad inside, some USB action, some cup holders, you got your wrist rest, and we got the double center console lid thing, whatever you want to call it. And really nice material use all throughout, by the way. Like everything is soft touch, even like here on the side. And if we pop over the glove box, good storage space, but like look at the outside with the stitching and everything, and even on the dash here, and then look at like the vents. All of that looks fantastic, and yeah, just really nice material use. And speaking of nice material use, even the top is top notch. See what I did there with the material use? I mean, everything here, except for the sun visors, I guess. But outside of the sun visors, it's all really nice. Now here's the window sticker for this SL55. You guys can see the standard equipment. Base MSRP $141,000. After all options, $161,000. And let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors. You should do a blind spot monitoring and throughout the rest of the rear. A little bit lack of visibility there in the rear, but again, so blind spot monitoring is to use to help out with, obviously. I guess my brain's running at like 5% capacity because of the heat today. But anyways, this is my first time. Ooh, look, it's a Bentley. This is my first time in the new SL, just the new SL in general. I haven't driven this or the 63 version. If they get a 63, or not if, but rather when they get a 63 in, then I will do a review on that as well. But I can say right off the bat, this is very comfortable for a, you know, drop top style car. Okay, so initially setting off here, first off, ride quality is, you know, again, for like for an AMG, it makes sense. And it handles so well. Wow, this must have 4-wheel steering. It's like, it's super sharp. But yeah, for roadster, it's comfortable. For like a regular, like when you think like luxury Mercedes-Benz, it is a little bit on the harsher side of things. Like, you know, even though this has S in the name, it's definitely not an S class when it comes to ride quality. So that's just something to kind of take into account. But I mean, with that being said, it's, I mean, you could just put miles on this. It feels pretty rigid too for being a roadster type vehicle. I think that is pretty impressive. Usually these roadsters, they'll feel kind of, I'm trying to think of the right word for it. They just won't feel that super rigid. They won't, you kind of go around corners and it feels not flimsy, that's not the right word, but this definitely doesn't. It's got this nice tight feel to it. So we'll pop it into the sport mode here, and we'll open up the valves so that everything gets a little bit more aggressive. Oh gosh, you gotta love that AMG V8. Such a crisp sound. Such a crisp sound, that is for sure. So I know this is a little bit of a shorter test drive, but after doing the walk around, I realized that we're almost out of fuel, so don't want to end up stuck on the side of the road in an AMG with no fuel. But I can tell you, it's fast. It's got some power, and it sounds great. I mean, this 4.0 V8's legendary. But anyways, to sum things up here with this first review, and I'll try to have a better review in the future when they get like a 63 version in, because I'll obviously want to touch base with that. But as it stands, for a roadster type car, it's really fun. I think it looks great. It's got a lot of nice luxury features. I honestly don't have anything bad to say about it, but what I will say is, I think the biggest thing this car has going against it is the fact that it's a roadster. It doesn't seem like people want these anymore. Just this type of car. Like, you know, you look at like with the AMG GT that's Mercedes discontinued, and you look at the different variants on it, and you know, the roadster version of that, you know, wasn't nearly as popular as the track versions of it, right? The GTR, super popular. The Black Series, I remember those were selling for like hundreds of thousands of dollars over original MSRP because so many people wanted them. So I think that the market with these two-door cars has kind of shifted towards performance, like all-out performance and track-oriented stuff. And so stuff like this, although it is great at what it does, I just don't necessarily think the market really likes roadsters anymore. I think they like track cars, again, like the AMG GTR and like the Black Series. But let me know your thoughts.